This morning, I would like to help you identify with the three states that we are conscious of and help you discover where you are at and where you need to go, and then how to go there. I would like to keep it mostly up there, and I've written it all down, and I think it would be very good for you to copy it and take it with you. Because if you understand these sentences that I will put down here, you will be there. So in the future you can look at them, read them, and try to make that knowledge your knowledge. When you do, that's it. So, to identify where you are at, there's you, and that's simply when I ask, are you? And you say yes, that's it. Which sets up your mind, which sets up your body and world. And so you are aware of these three things. Now the real you, your isness, your amness, your existence, your are-ness, etc., it's all the same thing, has no limitation. It's whole, complete, perfect, eternal. And when you identify with that, that's it. But you have already set up your mind, which is ancient by now, and is extremely overloaded with programs and their resultant thoughts. And your biggest program is, I am this body. With all the incumbent millions of things I need to do to keep it surviving. And these things keep you busy 24 hours a day. Working at them, resting from them, working at them, and resting from them. So try to find out where you're at. Remember the experiences you had when you were up here, number one. Remember how wonderful that state was. It will encourage you to keep trying until you can sustain that state all the time. Number one is the real you, is the changeless you. Number 2 and 3 is the ego personality you. Is the fiction you. Is the story you. Is the program you. In 2 and 3, you gather up and hold all the limitations that you have placed upon yourself over the millennia. So what do we need to do? Backtrack the way we came. Start undoing the concepts of being a body, of being a mind. And of course you all know how to do that. Release at your basic programs. approval, control, security. And the three states that in here, as you know, being is your beingness only. If you're being your beingness, there is nothing else. When you're being your beingness, there is no otherness whatsoever. And what you see is I only out there. As I said before, if you really understand what I'm saying, you're there. So please write these down, take them home with you, and work on them until you are established there with a capital T. The doing state, of course, is your position, your place in the world. The higher up you are, the greater you are with freedom, the more you are doing, the higher your place. The president in beingness is higher than the Senate, which is higher than the House, which is higher than the average public. They have at least enough to be mostly in the doing state. Of course, these are your corporate heads, all the big doers, all the big achievers. And down here we have 95% of the population who are in havingness, who think their thing lies in having. If only I could have this. If only I could have her. If only I could have him. If only I could have this car. If only I could have a Rolls Royce, a Maserati. If only I could have $1 million. If only, and on and on and on it goes. And you're constantly identifying with things. That things give you your welfare. You move up, get into courageousness, and ride around both sides of that, you're in doingness. Up in beingness, we don't even have 1% of the population there. It's a small fraction of 1% who do nothing but all the time identify with their beingness. They are the Christs, the Buddhas, the Yoganandas, the Ramakrishnas, etc. They are never out there in the world working for a living. So up here we have a small fraction of 1%. In the doingness area you have about 5%. Smaller doers are professionals. They go out on their own. Small business people. People who don't have to punch a time clock. People who don't hold jobs under someone else. Holding a job is a slave consciousness. I can only live by working for someone else doing what they tell me to do. Had we not the slave consciousness on this earth, no one would be working for anyone. It would be a totally, complete, cooperative society. So you see where we have gotten ourselves to. We really went down to the bottom, but we are now coming up from the bottom, going up, up and away. Happiness is your bank book and possessions. I think that's kind of obvious. There's three things that you identify with. You, your beingness, your mind, and your body. Now the real you is your beingness. And when you're identifying with your beingness, you're in the most wonderful state there is. And when you're identifying with the body, you're in the worst state there is. And you're in constant trouble. And you're trying to survive a thing that will not survive. And you're spending all your time doing that stupid, silly thing. Now, as you release your programs, you identify less with the body and more with your beingness. And when the programs are out, it's only natural for you to identify with your beingness all the time. And that's it. So next time you get up here, remain there as much as you can. And from there you can really get up the garbage. It's impossible to write it down. You cannot describe beingness. In order to use words, you have to come down from beingness into mind. Mind can never comprehend beingness because it's below it. You can remember it was great. And want, with your mind, to go back there by dumping the programs. No programs, you're there all the time. If you get these concepts, it'll help you keep moving upward. And when you get there, using that state to remain in that state by getting the deepest garbage up and out. When you're up there, you could theoretically, like that, dump all the garbage. I have not all our garbage. Done with it. It's theoretically possible if you'll do it. But the least you can do is when you're up there, work to dump the feelings that are coming up. And if they're not coming up, stoop down, dig down, look for them. You can look down. And because you're up, you're very able to handle them and release them. Just opening and letting it out is stopping holding it down. Really, all that pressure would push out. Resistance. We're using energy to hold down all that suppressed ag flap. So yes, when you stop holding it down, it goes out. When you're up there, it happens much more so because you're not going to stupidly hold that garbage down as you do when you're spinning in it, swimming in it. When you're down in it, you think the garbage is you. When you're up there, you know it isn't. So you're willing to let it go out. When you're released, you're up. When the garbage is in play, you're down. See, you are always your beingness. You got no choice on that. Let me see you not be. Can you do it? Even those who try to be by committing suicide don't succeed. They get a sense of being more alive with a better body. It's impossible to not be. This is a ridiculousness of the whole thing. Thou art that which thou art seeking. You're an infinite being. It's your beingness. Identify with it, And that's all there is. I have 5 words that indicate the free state that you can use as a goal to be achieved. 5 of the most important words in your vocabulary. 5 of the most important words in your mind. Any one of which, when obtained, has you in the state of freedom. Number 1, you get to the place where no one and nothing can ever disturb you again. Even death facing you doesn't disturb you one bit. And you could watch yourself. You could watch your body being squeezed out slowly with a big smile on your face when you're up here. Nothing, not even death itself, can disturb you. Not even approaching death. Desirelessness is mental quiety, mental quietness. Desire is the agony of lack, which when fulfilled momentarily stops the mind from its agitation, and you are being your beingness. And it's great, and it's a pleasure, and it's happiness. What you don't see is that it was not the thing, it was not the person, but it was the quieting of your thoughts that made you happy. There goes all hanging on relationships. You don't need the other person to be happy. Now, I'm not saying break up all relationships. Know what it is. Your relationship is filling a need, a desire. Release the desire, then you might continue the relationship and you might not. If you do, your whole effort is to help the other one discover what you discovered. So a relationship should be, basically, wanting to help the other one go free. And if it isn't that, I say it is sick, as all of you know from your experiencing. Your greatest misery in life is from your relationships. You get moments of pleasure and tremendous amounts of pain. All that disappears when you identify properly with your beingness and have the wish to release the attachments, the approval, the control over the other one. If you want an expression, you can say, the other one is God. My children are God's children. Release, let go, let God, and your children will come up the best. So desire is our number one enemy. It's an artificially created lack, which we continually try to satisfy and never, never, never satisfy it. There isn't a single desire you've had that you've ever satisfied. Because the more you try to satisfy it, the stronger the desire becomes. It's impossible to satisfy desire. it's very possible to release. You see, if you could satisfy desire, you'd have everything once and you'd be satisfied. But in trying to satisfy that desire, you just want it again and again and again and forever. So desire is a number one enemy. And when you let go of that agony of lack, you discover you have everything. The universe is yours with no effort. And so number three comes into being. Since the universe is yours, what effort do you have to go through to get it? None. Life actually becomes effortless. And since everything is mine, there's no need to struggle, scratch, and fight to get it. And so we get the inner sense of actionlessness. Reminds me of a time when I first discovered this. I was walking down 57th Street toward Hamburger Heaven between 6th and 7th Avenue. And I said, Paul, we have never moved. Now I'm walking along. We have never moved, Paul. And I was so excited. Telling him we have never moved as we're walking into the restaurant. And since that time, it's never left me. I have never moved. The real I has never moved. It can't. It's omnipresent. Where's it going to move to? But the fictionalized body on the screen of the mind concocts a movement. But it's not real.